I am doing today Ask Me Anything. It sounds like a game show, doesn't it? Ask Me Anything. But I just thought this was an interesting one to do, and I had a quick look at the questions. There were, you know, 3 pervy men who left very pervy things. Esme's here on the phone too, just in case I get a technical hitch or something. But yeah, you've asked really I just skimmed through very quickly some really good questions. So I'm very excited to answer it. So we'll just wait till a few of you join, because there's lots of people coming on. I'll say hello to a few people and then we'll get started. So, hello Brazil, hello Erica, hello Susan, hello Living the Miami Life. Hello Helix, hello Crowns and Helen. Afterwards, I'm going to try and save this to my main feed, but I have to let you know that there was an issue with it before this morning, and I couldn't save it at all. Natalie's workout with me, which is quite frustrating. But for those of you who like to try and find my content, you can either find everything nearly on YouTube, or you can go to the little TV icon at the top of my page, click on that, and it will show you the kind of view from Instagram TV. And then there's a little tiny little thing that says series. And if you click on that, you'll see I have 12 different series, and there's about, you know, between 5 and 20 films in each one. So it's endless viewing. And that's the way to do Instagram TV. So I think I'm just going to start. You and Susanna Litty Clitter. I know I haven't actually looked at that. Susanna is hilarious. It was very funny doing that film, which we obviously did a few months ago. But it's the last in our T-Zone series. So we just want to put it out today. And who better to end that series than Susanna? You know, because it's just like, that's the woman to end it with. I thought I'd dress up today. Yes, I'm in a very old Zara suit in a cool pink, but because we've got something coming soon, which is a pink, I was just inspired by pink. So I'm going to do questions now. All right, we'll do questions. So, okay. Oh, there's a ton here. This is from Lewis. Should we find a look that works and stick with it, or constantly try new things? I think, you know, I think it's a bit of both. I think we need to find out what looks great on our body shape, and those should be our essentials. And then we need to occasionally break the boundaries and take risks. So that would definitely be the first one, with colour, if it suits you, with print, with mixing prints, with different lengths of trouser legs if you want to be a bit sort of more funky. So I think it's a mixture of both in the wardrobe. Okay, next one. I'm not even going to look. I'm just going to... How did you train yourself to sleep on your back, and the benefits of sleeping on your back? I don't sleep on my back, so I don't know where that idea came from. I generally sleep on my side like this, and I sort of train my hair up to sit like that. I don't move much in my sleep, so literally the way I went to sleep is probably the way that I'll wake up. Don't know what that says about me, but that's what it is. What are the most flattering trousers for somebody with slightly chunky thighs? I think having a slightly wide leg, or not really a skinny... Oh dear, I mean, you can't see it, but I haven't got even done my zipper up. But having something that doesn't go in on your thigh too much and be too tight at the biggest part of your thigh. So I do love a flare with a chunky thigh, because I think it evens it out and it reproportions your leg shape. So it's always my preferred body. My body lotion is Amorolite, which you can get in Boots. I love it. It's got a few enzymes in it. And I'm just going to read here. I don't have Snapchat. Do I have Twitter? No, I don't. There is a Twitter account. I never use Twitter. My TikTok name, I can't even remember. You stimulate a lot your skin. I'm sensitive and redness. Let's just do this here, because I did lots of radio frequency this morning. You stimulate a lot your skin. I'm sensitive and redness, and I'm 34. Radio frequency scares me. I think with these kind of tools, you have to be super careful if you have very sensitive skin, and you've got to really think, what can you use? There are certain products very good for sensitive skin, and I do list them whenever I do a Secret 7. I'll put one in for sensitive skin. But tools, you know, like if you have rosacea doing radio frequency, that stimulates and heats up your skin, and that would be a really contra thing to rosacea, for example. So if you do have that, I would say be aware of anything which is really heat related. There. Okay, I'm just going to go to the next one. What's my favorite Temple Spa product? It's going to be their Sugar Buff, which is the exfoliator. How did I get rid of my acne scars? 1 minute ago. How did I get rid of my acne scars? Do I have before and after? And also the dermatologist. I saw a dermatologist when I was 28 called Dr. Gold. He was so old-fashioned. He said, your skin is nothing to do with what you eat or anything. And here, take oxytetracycline, tetracycline, minosin, everything. Didn't get rid of my spots. Once I had got rid of my spots, I did that with Roaccutane, and I had acne for 13 to 28, so about 13 years. Really tormented me. So I was left with a lot of scarring because I had picked my spots a lot, which is why I try and tell Lila, please don't. And anyone who has spots, just don't pick. So I did a CO2 laser, which then was a very strong laser, and it sort of burns off and evens out those sort of craters that acne pot marking can give you. I didn't have the severest, but I had it quite badly all around here and here. So here, close up, reason I developed Miracle Blur is to kind of blur out the remains of that acne scarring. But CO2 definitely helped. There was downtime from it, a lot. There is now a CO2 laser light, which has less downtime. But basically, a CO2 laser is an ablative laser, which means it's kind of, taking off microscopically layers of your skin, and that's how it works. So for me, it did work, and it was something that I was really relieved to do. Love your Stella Wedge brogues. Do you know a good dupe? That's for your Brill uplifting content. Thank you so much, Kate. I do have a few dupes. Dune used to do dupes. Vestiaire Collective do second hands Stella brogues, which are great. Zara obviously do dupes. Russell and Bromley sometimes do dupes. The word dupe is loosely aligned here. But yes. New Face Mini. Oh, this is a question I'm asked so often. New Face Mini or Face Gym Pro? I did a video last year. I do still have it. I do still use both. They're both a kind of current that tightens your muscle to an extent. And I would say that if you're on a budget, I would consider getting, because I did actually order now the New Face proper size, and I did a little test in the bathroom this morning on Facebook showing the mini, the daughter with a mummer, and I felt no difference. In fact, I felt, looking at the film, that the mini lifted my cheekbones more. So I would say if you're on a budget, the New Face Mini is the cheapest of all those three options. And if you're on less of a budget and you really want that investment, I might do Face Gym Pro. Yeah. I think I use it consistently a bit more than the New Face. But I think the idea of investing in that kind of tool, it might be, for most of people, it's a lot of money. But if you do invest in it, use it consistently. Really feel you've got the benefit. It's not like buying that. You don't want to be like buying the really expensive dress for a wedding, which then sits in your cupboard and costs per wear. It's hugely expensive. You haven't seen Cha-Cha, John says, for a long time. Is she still with Trinny London? No, she's not. The best styles to wear post-pregnancy when carrying extra weight. I think that it's very difficult post-pregnancy for some women because there's this change in your body and your ribs have expanded. And, some dresses that I wore, although many women sometimes after pregnancy, like a year or so after, get even... they less than pre-pregnancy, your shape has changed. your waist has slightly changed, your rib cage has expanded. So I was very narrow here and then I became less narrow. I'm going to say to you a silly question, but it's sort of about patience and kind of loving your body and knowing that, I breastfed Lila for 9 months in the end, even though it was dregs of milk morning and night into month 5 or 6. But I still wanted that connection with her because I was working and it was the time I would have that real bonding mother-daughter moment. But don't try, there's a lot of things. Let me squeeze into my pre-pregnancy jeans. I would just start to wear tops that give you your waist back, but be comfortable in your trousers. That's what I'd sort of say to you, Mrs. Gannon. Don't give yourself a hard time. Favourite London spots for breakfast? I love Colbert in Sloane Square. because I've known the people there, and they're an incredibly lovely team. And I always get, I always get a baguette, croissant, sometimes an omelette. And the Wolseley in the West End, I used to go to a lot. So they're actually owned by the same person. I much prefer them to another local restaurant called the Ivy, because I just think they're cozier and more casual and cooler. I just find the Ivy a bit pretentious. It's lovely. It's pretty and floral and feminine, but it's just, I love that French brasserie breakfast moment and the croissant moment, and things not too formal. I don't like too much formality at breakfast. I just want good food served quickly. There's some sexual questions now. So I'll just avoid those. What clothes do you think are not in anymore? It's a really good question, because what is in and what's not in is so different now in fashion from fashion 10 or 15 years ago, because people say, can I wear, I think a lot of things that were a trend are now a classic. So leopard, which is a trend every 3 years. You'll notice trends always come back in. It's not that it's not in anymore, because to me it's a classic. If you suit leopard and looks great, have it in your wardrobe and wear it, whatever. The same applies to skinny jeans. They're a classic. They're not a trend anymore, but for the first 2 or 3 years, it was a trend that just kept going on and on and on. Wide leg trousers, are they a trend? No, they're not. If they suit you, wear them. What could be trend that I really feel? Sequins, that's a classic. It's not a trend. Things that are a trend. This season, suits that are with shorts. That's a trend to me. And you kind of got to look at it and think, do I suit it or not? If you don't suit it, don't buy it. That's when I think if you want the moment of a trend, you should do the trend cheaply, and you should invest in more classic clothes that are just timeless. But, I never look at people. I never, ever, ever, actually, I've got to say this, look at women and think, God, you're so trendy. I look at women and think, my God, I love the way you've put that outfit together. So it's never really about fashion when I look at a woman. It's about, my God, she so gets colour, or look how she's flattering her body shape. And I think most of us, when we look at other women, we are looking and thinking, God, she looks lovely. I don't think I judge and say, my God, she's so on trend. So, screw the bloody trends. Buy what suits you. That's what I say. And that's another whole question about what suits me. That's another thing altogether. Okay, I'm just going to go on to there were some kind of really interesting, funny ones. Do I like Irish brand, The Skin Nerd? I think I spotted one of them in your videos. The Skin Nerd, I think, did Skin Food. It might be her. If it is, I love Skin Food. I think it's called Skin Food. And it comes in this kind of packaging which is not dissimilar to that pump packaging, but very, very well thought out range. I thought it was fantastic, actually. How do you know what to get rid of, as a lot of my clothes seem to feel dated, not very me now? I think this is a really interesting question, because we can, from one day to the next, put something on in the wardrobe and think, oh my God, what was I thinking? And you've had it for 10 years, and it used to make you feel good every single day, and now suddenly it doesn't make you feel good anymore. That means it's time to move on from that. And it's probably, you've just shifted. And we have shifts at different stages. So for me, I know wearing chiffon, as a fabric, now I feel it ages me in a way of, it just makes me feel granny-ish. Whereas chiffon in my 20s I loved, and in my 30s. So there are certain things you're going to feel that with. Another thing I feel that with probably is quite high-waisted dresses, which maybe when I was in my 30s, I think, oh, it's fine, that sort of post-pregnancy-ish moment, or that sort of empire waist. But I now think whenever I try dresses on like that were in my wardrobe, it's time to get rid of them, or can I put a belt on that brings down the waist? Because then it suddenly looks ageless instead of my being a bit meh. Ooh, hang on, I've lost that. Now I need to go to another question. How to look chic at 40? Again, I hope that in a way, a little bit of what I'm saying will answer that. It's just finding things that suit you, finding something you want to be excited by, finding colours that you really suit. In your 40s, it's a time to really cement those ideas that you've had around fashion. And it's a time to refresh and reflect on your makeup. You might have done the makeup the same since you were 25 and now you're 40, and you need to look and think, really? Should I be doing that now? Is that hard black eyeliner still something that's relevant in my life? You know, do I need to change that tone of lip? Is it one that wears me now? Or do I need to start wearing a stronger lip because my hair has got paler? I just think we need to assess and find what's going to take us for the next 10 years, as well as knowing the classics. I feel there's this balance of 50-50 in my mind. Bird on going grey natural hair. I wouldn't go. I think people go different greys, and I go the worst colour grey. I go like this kind of fox's tail grey. It's like a yellowy, yucky, shitty grey. So I colour my hair, and I have a dye that I got from my hairdresser, and it's 7.8 or 7.6, and I do that on the front, and I paint it in, and then I do that probably every 3 weeks, and then every week or so, or every few days, like you know, oh, I got the other one here. I'll always get this little bit, you know, here that's a little bit see-through, and I've in fact coloured that in with Colour Wow. So for that very quick moment, you can see a bit here, you know, that slightly, if you feel you're really thinning like that, I do Colour Wow. I mean, the instant gratification on that knows no bounds, of just filling in that kind of hole. Because I'm doing a lot of lives, I'm a bit vain. And then Josh Wood, the colour thing, I love the retoucher pen, because I put this in when I wash my hair, and it's been a sort of week since I've done the colour, and I just feel, because my hair grows quite quickly, and I put this on wet. I did a little film with Josh, which I think is on YouTube, and it shows you how to do it. But I think it's brilliant, and he's just bringing one out for redheads, because my sister is a redhead, and she wouldn't want me to say this on camera, but she's a few years older than me, and she's got a few grey hairs, and she needs to do something. She asked me about how she could do something about them. This blazer is from Zara. It's about 3 years old. I found the trousers in one part of my wardrobe and the blazer in the other, and they came together after like 2 years of being apart, and I thought I'd lost them, so it's great. I'm saying hello to your wife, Tomo. She's in the kitchen watching. Hi, Tomo's wife. Zara shop soon. I've got, I hope, I've got half a rail of all the new Zara stuff, and I've got on another big order. So I hope by tomorrow I will have like 25 things I've ordered from Zara for you guys, because I'm not keeping 80% of it. But I just thought, how can I do a Zara shop up properly for you? Because online isn't, you want to see them on, you want to get me feeling and touching the fabric. So I'm doing that for you, okay? And we'll do that tomorrow or the next day. I'm quite excited. I do know already what I like from the new season, in terms of 90% of all those lovely floaty, voyage-y inspired washing out colours that I fell in love with and thought I could still wear. When they came in the box, I'm looking at them now, I thought, you are kidding. Lila liked 2 of them. They're quite expensive, this special collection they've done. And then I've ordered a ton of tops for Lila for her 6th form next year, well, this year in September, and also for me for just fun tops, like, you know, the white top with the broderie anglaise big puffy sleeve. It was £29. I mean, that's a milestone top. And the lady who said her wardrobe's feeling tired, I'd say just 3 $29.99 tops from Zara in fun, structural, strong colours and shapes will transform your feeling about yourself. Is this live fashion only? It's not. I hope that I will record it. Would I come to Aruba and help me with the tropical office look? I'd love to, darling, but I'd love to come to Aruba. I love that you don't wear a bra. I'm jealous, but out of interest, why don't you? A few of you have asked this question, why don't I wear a bra? I think my boobs were always minuscule. They were raisins compared to Susanna's melons. We did this tube ad once for one of our books. I remember all over the tube we had Susanna with these beautiful cantaloupe watermelons, and I was with 2 little fried eggs. And then I hit menopause and my boobs got bigger. I put on about 1.5 stone. My boobs got bigger. And I now occasionally wear a bra. Sometimes on this morning I feel that I need to wear a bra. But I've just I had never worn one, and I did spend many of my years educating women on the importance of wearing a bra, especially if they had a proper boob. And I now probably do have a proper boob, but I had a habit of 30 years of not wearing one. So that's why I'm living with the history that they were never big enough to justify that they would need a bra to hold them up. But if I wear a bra, it's from Bodus probably, and it's like a sort of flesh-coloured thing, and it's got no underwiring. I don't like underwired bras. And because my boobs are below a certain size, I don't know. I don't know how many people think about underwire bras. What is the thing you're doing with Susanna? It's I think it's going up today, Esme. Has it gone up yet?
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube, fine. So that's something that we just did a little chat together. Vintner's Daughter, Essence or Serum, which is better? They're very different. One is like a sort of exfoliating toner with a lot of kombucha in it and vinegars, which is the essence, and the serum is a beautiful blend of about 36 active plant-based oils. Was I always this confident in your clothes in your 20s? You know, I can show you now a little picture that somebody sent me today, which is me in my 20s. Hang on, if I've got it here. I wasn't so confident. I really felt very, very unconfident around... this is me in my 20s, look. Hang on, there. Can you see that? There. I know that forehead is like just dominating in a scary fashion. My hair also, that was short for me with my hair. I had very, very, very long hair. But I felt, and you know that I was in Tatler then for how I was dressed. But I remember at the time, I've always loved fashion. And when I was 6.5 and at boarding school, I went to a boarding school very early, and it was quite, when I look back now, I just feel... It was, you know, what my family did, but I spent quite a few weekends there when a lot of you went home, and there were the people who lived abroad who spent the weekends there. And so we would all kind of try to entertain one another, and I would always end up, you know, kind of changing our school uniform, or anyone who had a few home clothes. Benetton had just started in Italy, and a friend of mine brought Benetton clothes back. And so I was always really interested. And then when I did my first few jobs, I wanted to be in the city, and I hadn't been to university. And so I went into commodity trading, and I was literally a secretary and then an assistant, and then working in a fund. And I tried to dress like the boys. So I always wore... And also, when I was actually at my school when I was 18, I remember I borrowed my father's covert coats, and I would wear that manly Annie Hawley look. And this is in the kind of mid-80s, because broad shoulders were never broad enough. So I did have that feeling and love of clothes. And I remember this friend of mine, Pia, who Pia is named after, she said to me, because I didn't feel that... And it's incredible. And this is a really good message to give people in their 20s who are feeling a bit insecure. So I didn't feel confident because I felt spotty. I didn't feel attractive, you know, as a woman. I just didn't. And I was very unconfident on many levels. But she remembers me going to this kind of quite famous place, the old Annabelle's years ago. And she said, you walk through the door and you're wearing these like, navy and white spotty pajamas, and they look so cool, and you walked in nonchalantly, and you know, I just thought you were the coolest thing. And then what was it weird is I remember that moment, and I remember going and thinking, oh, what do I wear? And I wasn't confident enough to wear a dress, and I didn't like my legs, so I wore pajamas. So it's like how we feel and what people see is so different. But it is really important to address how we feel, because you know, my biggest desire, and one of my biggest desires, is to help girls in their 20s who are just feeling that crippling lack of confidence. And how can one give them, like, how can we give, you know, confidence? Or how can you feel good about what you're doing now with your body, with how you present yourself, with everything? The same again applies to women at every decade, but in their 50s, you know, when life has changed, menopause has hit, their kids are maybe growing up, they're thinking, what's my purpose here for myself? And how can I feel that I'm still this fabulous sensual woman when there's a few things beckoning, telling me I'm really going down that path of life? And how can I feel ageless? You know, to me, the ultimate thing in life, of what we're talking about, not of the whole ultimate thing, is how do you get that sense of agelessness? Because I think to be 20 and be very aware of being 20 is as tricky as being 60 and feeling aware of turning into your mother. So, you know, how can you feel ageless at 20? And how can you feel ageless at 50? And how can you feel you're in the right body at the right time doing the right thing? You know, that's kind of what we all want to aspire to, is that sense that that we're not living in the past or future. You know, the more we can live and enjoy and embrace and love the present, the happier we will be, and those around us will be. So everything for me is about that, whether it's the superficialness of, you know, addressing where a woman is at in her makeup, and how can we make her feel ageless in her makeup and not feel kind of she's stuck to a decade or trying something too crazy that doesn't suit her or not trying enough, you know. And then in clothing, and then in attitude, and then in health, really important too. All of those things. Right, that was such a long-winded answer to, were you always this confident? I mean, that's me, isn't it? Just off on a bloody tangent. But anyway, just saying it. How did I manage changes with the menopause? I think for me, I spent quite a few years being, you know, going to a few English doctors and them saying, hey, let me put you on mare's urine. Sorry, that's what I call HRT. And not doing having checks, not even having my hormones checked. I just gave the symptoms and they said, like, this is what you go on. And I, you know, for me, meeting Dr. Erica, who some of you came across on our lives, was such a revelation, because she was the first one who said to me, Trinny, you know, you can do something about this and you can feel great. And it was transformative in how I then worked through the menopause, which I'm kind of out the other side of now. There was a woman the other day as well, and this, I'm going to just be very aware of how I say this, but I think the one thing that can happen is lots of women can be with a doctor who maybe is really busy and just wants the quick response. So they might say, you've had breast cancer, you can't go on HRT, or you've had this, you can't do this, or, you know, and I think there's a very grey area around all this, and there's an easy, quick solution, and there's more research to see what can you do. So I had a very nice email from a woman who said, my doctor told me I couldn't go on HRT because I'd had something. I'm not going to say what it was. And then she did some proper tests, and then she went, you know, she had a chat and she watched the thing with Dr. Erica, and then she went back to her doctor and said, can we actually do some tests, because I really don't want to accept your first judgment. And he did these tests, and then he said, actually, you can. So my view is challenge, just really, you know, if you feel that menopause is affecting you and you've been told for some reason you can't do anything about it by a very traditional doctor, there are other routes. You know, one can look at lovely Shabir from Victoria Health, and the most holistic approach could be that you take sage and you take Magnolia rhodioli for your mood, and you take sage for your sweats, and you take cherry night powder for sleeping. You know, that's a lovely holistic combination that will help. And then the other extreme is you do full-on HRT, and there are so many women out there who would never come off it. So there's something for every woman, and you shouldn't feel there isn't something out there for you. That's what I would say very strongly. Okay, I'm just going to do a couple more here. Sorry, there's just many, many, many. What do I think about the Duchess of Cambridge's style? I think she has a classic style. I think that, you know, she's not too out there, and she's not really, really boring, you know, and I think that she's really grown into herself. That's what I do think about her. When I look at her, I think that's fabulous, and you've grown into yourself. I think that's a very good thing. She's softened in her makeup, which I'm very relieved about. I found that black eyeliner was too hard on her lovely eyes. So, yeah, I generally think she does a very nice job. Yeah. What size am I? I am probably, before I went into staying safe at home, I was probably a full 12 on the bottom and a 10 on the top. And I think now on the bottom, I'm an 11, because some of I call it 11 because it's between a 10 and 12. I said that on this morning, and they all like, 11 doesn't exist as a size, but you know what I mean. So I think because I've really been consistent in working out, and I'm trying to be active, and I'm trying to eat healthily, but deliciously, but trying to cut down on the sugar, I now do fit into my summer clothes from last year, which I didn't do the year before. How to pair glasses and earrings, makeup glasses and earrings. That's a really tricky one, because I've got them all on now, and I wouldn't with this do a bright lip because it would just be too much. But there are Cheryl, who's our lovely customer service woman. She has a very strong sort of white, cool white hair. And she has a very strong glass, and she has a bright lip. She looks incredible, but no earrings. So I think it's either earrings or lip with a glass. And I think sometimes when I do, like if I was doing that with earrings, I think you've got to be careful the earring movement is down here and maybe not too close to the glasses. Have I continued to use the High-U facial method? I have Katie Brindle's lovely angel-shaped quartz massage tools. I use them every 3 days, and I adore them. I just want to find, there was some funny questions earlier, so I'm just going to try and, my favorite fragrance, I've got a few. I used to love Vetiver by Guerlain for many, many years. The formula changed a little bit. Before that, I used to have Fracas by Roger Pillet or something, which is very sweet, sort of camellia kind of, just very sweet, but delicious, individual. You know immediately a woman's wearing it. Vetiver was more that sort of masculine stage when I was working in the city. And then now I love Blending Bouquet from Ben Halligan. I love Woody Fig from Samuel Garvin. I love Figure from Diptyque. What's the best product for teenage acne and scarring? I think I did spots before. I think the less is more for teenage acne. I think having a good AHA, BHA cleanser. I love Neostrata for Lila, and she literally uses that, makes sure she really takes the makeup off and uses that, and then a tiny, tiny bit of a really baby retinol sometimes, but you've got to be very aware of it, because I was prescribed retinol years ago for acne. That's what it was started as a product. It was Retin A. That's what it used to be called, very yellow, and used to have it for acne. Scarring and things. Azelaic acid is also very good because that will help reduce the redness and the inflammation, and it's a good kind of thing. Noreen's asking, what kind of boss am I? Leadership to you, a coach or hands-on type person? I'm a mixture. I'm a bit of a control freak, so I kind of really like to know what's going on with everyone, and I do find during the day I want to be in as many meetings as possible to see where we're going with things, and I can be quite abrupt because I just want to get to the point. I don't like faffing around. If I feel something is wrong, I'll just say it. I've learnt in emails to try and couch them in a way of, good morning, how are you? Can we think about this when we next do this? Instead of, why did you do that? So I'm trying to go more from why did you do that to, like if I see an email went out and I think, the creative on that email wasn't 100% of what I wanted, I now send an email to the team just saying, just to make a note in this email, these were the two things that I would have perhaps done differently. So it's that process of education for somebody to understand your style and what you want. The DNA of me is across Trinny London, and I find it very important to maintain that. And I also know and appreciate it's important as the company gets bigger that it needs to be able to grow without my being involved in every single thing. And I need to an extent to be able to let go and let that department do what it knows how to do. I'm at a stage now where we employ for the business people who are more experienced than me in certain areas of what we do. Whereas at the very beginning, probably, I was one of the most experienced people there in terms of understanding the customer, the product, all the things apart from the tech. So now there's many really fantastically qualified people in the business, and it's just that letting go, and it's trying to be inspiring for the team. I can be a mixture of inspiring and tough and everything. I love and care about my team tremendously, and I want them to always be their best, and I want to feel they're always being their best. And I know that I need to work on focusing on that part of things more. That's where I'm at on things, yeah. But I am hands-on, yes. I'm hands-on. If I'm buying just one Trinny lip colour, which one? Light skin, auburn hair and green eyes. You really want to put me on the spot. I would say that if you want a neutral lip, you could get VB Lip to Cheek, which is a really nice neutral shade. If you wanted something really lovely and easy, but it's more a little bit sort of not light, I would do Emily Sheer Shimmer, which I kind of love with your combination, which is a sort of very fresh, washed out, plummy shade, but it's a very fresh shade. I'd say that. Those are really random ones. My outfit is, I'm wearing Zara trouser suit here, and the trousers were in one cupboard, and the jacket was in another, and I'm so excited I found it again. And then I'd worn it last summer, or the summer before even, because I didn't wear it for a summer, with a white top underneath, and it was so contrasting. But I'm loving the softness of having the lilac, also bloody Zara, 1999 jumper, which got a bit dirty. I've got to try and find another one. And the softness of the earrings, or the beiginess of the earrings. So I'm very happy with my outfit today. Very happy with my outfit. I know, darling, I'm not talking to you.
You said my name.
I know I did, my darling. Hello. I'm just doing a live. I didn't say anything about you, actually.
You said my name.
I said your name. Where are my glasses from? My glasses are from Have a Look, which is a Danish brand. My favorite clothes brands. What are my favorite clothes brands? Obviously Zara, because it's easy, it's convenient. I think I talk about it the most. I don't do any commercial deals with anyone. And I think that if I look at our audience, we have people all over the world. I mean, I once was doing a live and counted 62 countries of women saying, I'm from. So it's, to me, the most universal shop. So when I talk about something I love, I want, if people are in Timbuktu, that they can say, oh, I could, not Timbuktu specifically, they won't have a Zara, sorry. But you know what I mean. And that they could get it if they wanted to. That's why I probably use it the most. And also I find that I will go into many other stores of the same price point that should be delivering interesting, current, fantastic fashion with great cuts. And I don't think they're necessarily doing that. There are times when I think Zara's been shit and I haven't liked anything in it. But I will always, every year, find things. And of all the things I always wear, you know, there's things I'll wear from Zara and everyone go, where's that from? And I'll say it was Zara 2 years ago. And it's about seeing what's good and what has longevity, what will last in your wardrobe, because you don't want to be buying stuff that after 3 washes is totally screwed up. So I love that. I love, expensive-wise, probably Alice Temperley for my kind of evening wear, a little bit of Stella McCartney shoes, Roger Vivier expensive shoes, Russell and Bromley white trainers, Hogan my really stacked, quite expensive trainers. I mean, Isabel Marant I used to love, but now I feel it doesn't work for me so well. Serena Butte. Serena Butte is my expensive indulgence of my cohorts. I'm just looking at it's like I'll go Zara, 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 River Island for the white top, and the blue coats, Zara, Zara, Cos, Zara, Cos, River Island, River Island, River Island, Serena Butte, Serena Butte, Serena Butte, Cos, Zara. I'm just going through. Sorry, like we can do that. Like I'm now at the shirts, by the way, the white shirts. River Island, Serena Butte, Cos. Then the yellow is Cos, River Island, Serena Butte. Me and M I love, which is the pink long skirt. Orange top is Zara, then Serena Butte, then Zara, then River Island, then Cos. I mean, I just think that says it all, doesn't it? Says it all. Okay, says it all. Okay, come on now. I'm trying to ask her. There was some funny one here. What do you think of EGF? I've been reading quite a bit about it, but I'm unsure. EGF Bio Effect. It's a serum that I first discovered on BA, and it was so expensive. It was like £120. And I thought, what is this? And I was on a long flight and I had some holiday money and I bought it. And it's a clear liquid and it's got growth hormone in it, which sounds a bit scary, but it's Icelandic brand as well, I think. And I loved it. It's a very light, weird night treatment, which just seems to plump up and make your skin look fantastic. I buy it probably twice a year and I always have it in my arsenal. I think it's a good product. And if you want to make that kind of investment, I think if you're not doing a retinol, that's one of my favorite nighttime things. Where can you find the makeup in France, Amel? We ship worldwide. We do virtual appointments from the 18th of May. We will be launching officially properly our virtual appointments, and we will be charging for them £25 redeemable against product. So if you think you go online, you don't know which colours to suit, and you've done the match to me but you're still not sure, do those virtual appointments. And I do believe that predominantly we are a direct to customer brand. I like that direct relationship with the customer. I don't like a middle party selling the products in a different way from how I wish us to sell them and tell you about them. So that's probably why I had this big desire that we should predominantly be online and direct to consumer. We have sold through Phoenix. Probably about 15% of our customers or 10% of our customers buy through Phoenix or at our at-home place. I can't get my words out. What would you say? I've said my favourite brands. How do you deal with people who keep saying the way you're dressed is over? Just dump them. I mean, sorry, if somebody comes up and says the way you're dressed is over, I just say fuck off. I'm so sorry. I think that's such a mean thing to say. I don't know who's saying it. It could just be your sister saying it, or your mum saying it, or your daughter saying it. Teenage daughter could be something like that. But I feel, honestly, what do I feel about that? You know, fashion goes in many, many cycles. And if you wear a look the first time it came out, and then you wear it the second time it came out, and it was very much a trend, not a classic, then when you wear it the third time it comes out, and you might be in your 50s, maybe that's when somebody would look at it and think it doesn't suit you, so they'd say that look is over. But I just feel, anyway, it's not the nice thing to say. I think there's other ways of interesting you in what else would you like to introduce into what you do in terms of how you wear your clothes. It's a bigger question. I can't answer it now, but I kind of would say, whenever somebody, I mean, if that really is rather a mean question, I always gave this bit of advice to Lila. There was 1 or 2 moments when she was a little bit bullied at school. Not much at all. Just 2 things. And always, in that instance, it's always about what's going on with the other person. It's never about what they're saying to you. So I would always say to her, Lila, can you just say, hey, X, what's going on with you that you think it's okay to say something so mean? What's going on with you, in an empathetic way? It can be quite flooring. So if somebody says to you that look is so over, you could turn around and just try that if it's that kind of situation. But I don't know the situation. I'm making assumptions here. I'm making assumptions. Fashion is like hair. It all keeps recirculating. I love that. What was the night cream again? It's called EGFBO Effect. But it is fantastic. What advice would you give to me fashion-wise? I'm coming up to 40 and feel... Yeah. Darling, I think it's that thing I said at the beginning of this. It's redressing where you're at and thinking, what would I like to introduce? What would I like to try? Do I really know the colours that suit me? What are my classics that I love, that I know are the reassuring things in my wardrobe? Like, to me, a grey coat is a classic, a navy coat is a classic, a pair of black wide leg trousers is a classic, a perfect white shirt is a classic, a lovely leopard dress is a classic, a sequin top is a classic, a sequin jacket is a classic, a perfect white trainer is a classic. So do you have those kind of staples in your wardrobe? And if you don't, consider going out to get them, or consider selling stuff you got and using the budget to go and get those things. And then step outside the box. What do I think of Augustus Bader? It sounds right the way you said it, darling. By the way, somebody said, are you dyslexic because you write so many things wrong on Instagram? I am a bit dyslexic, and I write too quickly, and I have fat fingers. So that combination means so often you've got to work out what I'm really trying to say. Augustus Bader brought out a cream. It's a serum, and he's got 3 or 4 now, but he had one he came out with, and it's in this blue pump action container. It's probably about 250 quid, and it's sold on Net-a-Porter. And I was sent it, and I found it because people found out my office address, and a lot of people would send things. So I just find these things on my office desk, and I remember thinking, oh, what's this? I didn't know then it was a £250 cream. So I just was trying. I think it's quite nice. It's like a tactile wise, it's sort of not vivaciousness. You see, dyslexic even in how I talk. Viscosity, kind of what I'm trying to say, sort of. Was just pleasant. But I then read more about it and how expensive it was. And I thought, would I pay that for it? And I don't know if I would, because I'd rather go far more medical. But if you've got money to burn, you want a very nice feeling, it's got vitamin A, B, C, D, E in it, then pleasant. But you've got to have money to burn. That's what I'd say. Is the flowy midi maxi dress the go-to for so many, a style that I will never be able to do. Why? I mean, why not? I think it's a great one. You can always belt it, but I think it's a lovely one. That'll be 2 a.m. here in the Australia. Please talk about man-made fabrics. I find them so hot. I mean, man-made fabrics for me, I'm not as precious about man-made fabrics because I think, first of all, they're much easier to maintain. You know, silks mark if you stain them much easier. And they are very much more expensive to get cleaned. So I tend to not sweat that much. That's the thing. And therefore, if I wear polyester shirts, and I think poly now is so different as a fabric from poly in the 60s or 70s. You know, there's breathable polys, there's beautiful viscose. You know, you can buy viscose dresses that are more expensive than silk dresses because it's such a sophisticated viscose and a complex material. So I would say there are still some fabrics out there in very inexpensive stores which are really unbreathable, and you feel claustrophobic when you wear them, and I wouldn't actually wear those fabrics, and that could be a really bad polyester which clings to you on every front. So but I wouldn't discount all. Like I'm not great with linen because I think it creases so much, and I love it as a shirt in the summer on a boat, but I wouldn't wear it as a pair of trousers. So I am specific about fabrics. What do I think the best at-home laser hair removal? I don't know, I'm afraid. Do I ever think about writing a memoir type of book? I don't know. It's like, you know, I feel that you write a memoir when you've got time on your hands and you're looking back at your life. And I don't think I'll ever be that person. I think I'll always just be too busy. And I can't imagine myself in that situation. So I'd rather just impart any knowledge I have now, social media wise, or written up in a few little things. I did love writing the books. I wrote 11 books with Susanna, and they did, you know, we sold about 3 million books. So we sold a lot of books, and they were far more educational books. They were less, you know, they were picture and writing. And I've written columns as well over the years for most newspapers and magazines that you can think of, apart from high-end things like Vogue. So I don't know. I just prefer to chat every day about little things I learn and share them, kind of, at the moment. Is there a chance tickets going to be back in stock soon? Yes, I'm hoping, but we are, you know, things like that, because they were coming from China and it was complicated, and, you know, we stopped the... You know, I will let you know, but it is, I think it must have just gone out of stock, actually. I'm super impressed with your promotion of SPF, doing Australia proud. No, this isn't a question. No, that's very sweet of you. I mean, I feel very strongly about SPF because I did spend years in the sun not doing SPF. And I just know that if you ask me, the 3 most important things you could do for your skin would be SPF, SPF, SPF. But there's many other things that can kind of slowly turn back a bit of sun damage. But if you are someone, you know, the women I see who have the best skin in the entire world, the overriding thing they all have in common is they didn't put their face in the sun. Now, for some people who feel they have a skin tone which is really like washed out without sun, that's an issue. But there's fake tans, there's bronzers, there's other things. That's just the only advice I could give you, and let alone just the aestheticness, the health implications of not having, you know, sun issues, and therefore maybe sun cancers and malignant, you know, skin cancer. That's where it can take you. At what age did I feel I really found myself? I'm 30 and a late bloomer. I was a real late bloomer. You know, when I was 26 or 7, I kind of started my life again. I took a year out. I had gone from job to job. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I knew what my passions were. I knew that making over women was a passion. I just hadn't found a vehicle by which I could refine that. But I did feel all my friends were moving on in their careers and doing things, moving countries, getting engaged, doing all this stuff. And I was late in everything. I didn't get married until I was 35. I didn't have a baby until I was nearly 40. I didn't really start on my career properly until I was 30. So don't give yourself that sense of, I should be at this place because I look around me and I judge myself upon those people around me. Just, you know, I think that there's certain careers that maybe you need to start on a path early, like being a lawyer or being a doctor, things that take, or being an architect, things that, it's a very obvious thing I'm just about to say. But, I fell into many things before I just thought, actually, what I would really love is to do what's my passion. So when you can make your job your passion is the most exciting way to have a career. And if you are in a career where you feel it pays the mortgage, I'm happy in it, I feel I can come home and switch off, that's great, fantastic. But if you are at the moment in a job or furloughed or not, working from home, and you've been kind of thinking through this time, because it does give us an opportunity to think more, is this what I want? Am I waking up excited by what the day has to offer? Am I excited by the people I'm working with? Am I stimulated at my office? Or am I really Groundhog Day? I mean, I know this is a great opportunity to feel Groundhog Day, but ask those deeper questions to yourself. And if you feel you are, then just think, what is your passion? What are you most passionate about? And how can you make that into your work? That is like the nirvana, but I think it's possible. I really think it's possible. But it took me many years to get there. I didn't start Trinny London. I mean, I had a very successful career doing TV and being a writer for 15 years. But then I had a lull of 3 years of trying to figure out what I wanted to do again, having to downsize everything, living beyond my means, wanting to start Trinny London. And that was very tricky to do at 50. It was something that would have been easier to do at 30. But I'm just showing you that we can have many careers in us. So never judge yourself on your age.